So today I'll share a bit of our personal journey with moving to Idaho and what we've experienced over the years. So it all started way back in 1999 after I'd had my first child. My husband started his first job out of college, and we had chosen to live in Northern California, a small town called Cameron Park, mostly because that is where our family was and we just hadn't really thought about moving to anywhere else. But shortly after we settled in there, we both started getting an itch to try something new. And besides that, even then, we started to realize that California was heading in a political direction that we didn't like. Home prices were becoming what we thought at the time were very high. We knew we wanted to stay in the West. We wanted to stay close to family, and high priority for us was a smaller city with lots of accessible outdoor recreation and 4 seasons. We also wanted to have a better cost of living and freedom in school choices. So we researched places like Bend, Oregon, St. George, Utah, the Olympic coast of Washington, Flagstaff, Arizona, and Bozeman, Montana. Somehow we just kind of skipped Idaho altogether. But around the same time, we had also become friends with a family who had moved for a job to Cameron Park in California from Meridian, Idaho. And they told us what an amazing place Boise and Meridian were and how much they missed it. And then we had friends from California that had moved to Boise for work, and they told us how much they loved living there. And Boise, Idaho was now officially on the list of potential places to live. But we decided the first step in leaving California was through a master's program. And long story short, when my husband was offered a good scholarship for his master's program at Boise State University, we jumped on that chance. And in 2001, we found ourselves driving street to street looking for rent signs close to BSU. It was over 100 degrees, our air conditioner was broken in the car, the toddler was crying and crying, and we didn't know where anything was. But we settled in a nice tiny home just blocks from BSU in Southeast Boise. So we've lived in a few different areas of town, and I'll tell you about our experience in each area. We absolutely love living in Southeast Boise. We could walk and ride our bikes everywhere. We put our daughter in the bike trailer. We rode our bikes to the river, the parks, downtown Boise, the grocery store, the library, restaurants, the zoo, all the downtown events, everything. It was an easy drive to the ski resort, the airport, and the foothill trails. And this was even more helpful because at that time we only had one car. So even though the area we lived in was filled with mostly single college students, we still met some wonderful families who were also in school, and they provided great community for us. The negatives to Southeast Boise were really only that it's not as central to the whole valley. So we had to drive 20 minutes or so to go to places like Target or Costco, and the homes there are mostly older and more expensive. I liked that living in Southeast Boise meant that you were doing most of your shopping and activities in downtown Boise, which, by the way, is still very clean, nice, and safe, but some people prefer to be farther out from town, so that may be a negative for them. We brought our second child to our little Southeast Boise house. My husband graduated, and we had a decision to make. Does he look for work in other cities, or do we focus on Boise? Of course, we had fallen in love with Boise, and it exceeded our expectations for a safe, smaller city with incredible access to all kinds of outdoor recreation, tons of activities to do with the kids, fantastic people in the community, affordable cost of living, and close access to an airport to get back to family in California. So while my husband did apply for jobs out of state just to cover his bases, we were so incredibly grateful when he landed a great job in Boise, and we knew that it would be our permanent home. We stayed in the little rental house for a while, but then I got pregnant with baby number 3, and it was time to buy our first home. We initially focused on finding a home in Southeast Boise since we loved that area so much. But even then, this was 2004, 2005, the homes in Southeast were much more expensive than in other areas, just like it is now. And on our limited budget and with a growing family, we decided to take our search out to Southwest Boise. These were the days before people really worked from home, so the commute to downtown Boise was a factor in our decision. So we bought our first home in Southwest Boise. It had been built in 1995, I think, so it was maybe 10 years old. It was about 2,000 square feet, and I think we paid about $180,000 for it. So we lived with close access to what we call the connector. That's a connecting section of the 84 that takes you straight into downtown Boise. So how was our experience in Southwest Boise? Well, of course, there were many things we loved about that area too. At that time in our life, with the then 3 small children, I loved that Southwest Boise was only minutes away from grocery stores, places like Target and the mall, and there was a great library system in Boise, so that's always helpful with young children. We loved that we lived only about 15 to 20 minutes from downtown Boise. So we did still drive to downtown Boise every week for the big parks, the river access, foothill trails, and all of the events. Of course, our neighborhood and community were just as welcoming as what we'd experienced in Southeast Boise. Our kids started elementary school, youth sports, and music lessons in this area, and they had a great time. Now in 2025, Southwest Boise has expanded and blends with South Meridian. The traffic the farther south you go has definitely increased due to all of the new subdivisions out that way, and they have added some nice parks. There weren't any great parks in that area when we lived there, but we loved our community and home that we had updated. However, as the kids grew older and I was able to leave the house more with them, we started to feel a little bit trapped. And what I mean by that is that the only places to run, ride bikes, and get outdoors in the Southwest Boise area at that time were just on neighborhood sidewalks. And because of the larger cross streets, you couldn't go that far. Now in 2025, there is the Discovery Park, which is a huge benefit to that area, but it is far South Meridian and South Boise, and it's not too close to the area we lived, which was closer to 84. And as the kids grew and we got out more, we found ourselves driving over to one place specifically over and over again, and that was the Eagle Bike Park. My husband and sons were avid bikers, and my boys just loved biking in the skate park. Everyone we met there had a high priority on outdoor recreation, especially as it related to health and things like trail running, backpacking, skiing, going to the lakes, all the things that we loved. We liked that that area of town put us about 30 minutes closer to the mountain recreation access up Highway 55, and we liked that the commute to downtown Boise was just down Hill Road as opposed to the freeway, which was getting more full of traffic. And by this time, my husband was working from home a few days a week anyways. We knew if we were going to make a move, we wanted to do it while the kids were still young and had time to build new friendships before junior high. So we listed our beloved first home in the worst timing of the market ever at the end of 2010. It did sell, and we moved into a rental in Southwest Boise to wait out the market dropping more and figure out exactly where we wanted to be. Our Southwest Boise friends would say, "Why in the world are you moving, and why would you move over to the other side of town?" Now, here's something you need to understand about the greater Boise area, especially for Boise, Eagle, Meridian, and Star. People are dedicated and die-hard fans of their particular area of town. When we moved from Southeast Boise to Southwest Boise, people would say, "Southeast is the best. Why are you moving to Southwest Boise?" And the same from Southwest Boise to the Northwest Boise East Eagle area. People would say, "This side of town is the best. Why are you moving to the other side of town?" And now that we live in the Northwest Boise East Eagle area, people on this side of town say, "Who would want to live on that other side of town?" So since I have lived in 3 different areas of the city, I can say I do think that that is a testament to how wonderful all the areas are. And the area of town for you really just comes down to personal preference, lifestyle, budget, and phase of life. So we did, in fact, move to the other side of town, which from Southwest Boise is the Northwest Boise East Eagle area. We moved in 2011, right down the street from the bike park. And while we were happy in all the other areas, we finally found what we didn't know we were looking for. And we have absolutely loved living so close to the foothills, the river, the bike park, and the mountain access. My boys spent nearly every day at the bike or skate park or the ski resort in the winter. We love the easy drive to downtown Boise, and we especially love that there is everything we need within a few miles, even nice restaurants, so we only fight traffic when we have to drive to Trader Joe's or something on Eagle Road or drive across town to the airport. And at some point during this life in Boise we had created, I became a realtor because I am so grateful for having been able to raise my family here, even without my family around. So my husband's brother's family did eventually move here, but even without any of my family around, we are so grateful for the chain of events that brought us to Boise, Idaho, that I wanted to help others do the same. So it's been 23 years of living in the Boise area, so what's my honest opinion now? Boise, Idaho was truly a paradise of a place to live and raise my children, and even with all the changes since 2020, it still is. There were a few things that were hard for me to get used to, like long winters, not as good shopping or restaurant choices, and of course, driving slower, and many things that were huge bonuses here, like low traffic and low cost of housing. They have now flipped with the explosion of population to high traffic in some areas and high costs of housing. But there have also been some great changes too, like a proliferation of new great restaurants, better shopping, easy to find organic local foods. The airport has more direct flights for getting to visit our family in California and escaping the winter when we need to. There are even more school choices now. Healthcare is great. Cost of gas and utilities are still lower than many states. There are more entertainment options like Broadway musicals and concert opportunities. We still enjoy the outdoor recreation here. And through all the changes, Boise has stayed clean and safe and has great people. And sure, we've had times we've gotten an itch for something new, but we always come back to where else is there to go for our lifestyle and personal situation for the long-term future. And for the past 23 years, Boise, Idaho has been and is our ideal place to call home. If you are wanting to know more about Boise, Idaho, and if it's the right place for you, please watch our YouTube videos here on our YouTube channel. You can go to my website, summerastonrealestate.com, to get a free relocation guide, sign up for our monthly newsletter, and find many more resources. You can also contact us through our website to set up a time to talk, and my team and I are happy to help. And don't forget, you can also follow us on Instagram. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.